Hey, I'm Grant. Welcome to a Stay of the Channel for October 18th. Want to do one of these? I originally had always planned to do these on Sunday, but that really doesn't work out for me anymore. So hopefully I can stick to a Monday date. But I kind of want to talk about what I was doing, just to not post one video randomly and then just go silent. So I started on that little code vein project I wanted to do. I felt like, at its heart right now is I'm trying to just do a let's play of it. Talk about very simple things, and then through recording and editing that, get back in the swing of video editing, because stuff like this is really easy, so I don't really have to worry about it. But if there's anything that I'll easily forget, I want to do that when I have easily repeatable footage and I haven't invested a lot of time into it. Like I was debating whether or not I wanted to do like a face cam with it, and I said like, oh, I should, because I wanted to record my dialogue separate, because half the point is to get footage of the entire game that I can then splice up for a like a little retro or a review. And I can't do that if I'm talking over it. So I eventually was like, yeah, let me record this. And I think I got maybe 15 minutes in, and I was just talking into this camera, and I realized my microphone was like across the room over there. I was like, well, that's worthless. I'm really glad I didn't commit super hard or like make this mistake down the line. So I just restarted, but it may sound simple just to sit down and do a let's play, but there's a lot of stuff I want to do with it, because whenever I do projects, there's usually some other goal. So like one of the goals of this is obviously I want to get back into some more complicated video editing, of which let's plays are pretty simple and straightforward, but I like that there's a lot of small choices you can make. Like you don't have to do stuff like clean up the audio. You don't have to do cuts, but I like that it's an option you can do without it feeling overbearing. But I also want to do stuff like I want to put a nice, simple intro before each episode that I brand it with like just a little, I don't know, maybe just a lower third or just like something and some nice music. And the point is not to do this, what I would call like the classic, like FPS montage style intro where it's like way overdone. It's like, I really just want something that's simple, states the name of like the channel, and just has kind of like a ritual to it, which is, if you ever look at YouTube's own, I guess, education stuff, one thing they recommend in a very broad way is the idea of just like rituals, stuff like always opening the video in a certain way or ending in a certain way, or like using callbacks, just because it helps reinforce it. And it's almost a subconscious thing, but it does help. And I know there's times where if I'm listening to something that's a very long form, like it's 50 episodes, it's kind of nice having the moment where it's not seamless. It's like the next one started, or it just kind of like reframes your mind a little bit into like getting back to what the previous episode was on. So I want to make something like that. And specifically, I have access to After Effects through Adobe, and I was like, I should learn how to actually use this, because it's there. It's very powerful. I don't intend to be doing, say, 3D effects. I've always liked keeping it pretty simple, because I feel like if you get higher and higher into complexity without a ton of experience, it would just look super cookie cutter. So think of like if you just take very simple pictures but throw a very complicated filter on it. That's the kind of feel I want to avoid. And I don't want it to be like overdone where it's like 30 seconds. I really just want like a nice 10-second like sting, and then just some like very simple graphics, so that if I have to, from my perspective, I record for an hour, cut mid-conversation, and then come back in, I can easily blend in and out of that. Also, the next thing is I need to find a good way to end the episodes. And the way I kind of want to do that is calling back to the music at the start. So I've actually been looking through a couple different stock, not footage, but stock sound sites. Like right now I've been looking at a lot of Pond 5, because I've never actually done anything from Pond 5, but I know it's a little bit more of a nice standard. So I want to try that, because ultimately now I just need kind of a musical track, and like I can get that pretty easily royalty free without it being a big deal. But eventually I might want to do some projects where I actually like want a sound effect, like maybe for some comedic reason, I eventually want to get like a Wilhelm scream. And that's probably more accessible than I would need, but I might need something like that where I just want to make like, hey, I want to make a little horror sketch. So I need sound effects and I want to get the experience of buying that and searching through them started. And that's kind of a good way to demonstrate what I want to do with this project, where it really is just a simple little project where I'm just going to talk about this game I really like that's got serious problems. But it's going to actually give me a lot on the back end. And that's kind of why, overall, I'm using this to explain why it's taking me a while, is I previously have done projects where I like film the entire thing first and then I go edit it. And just inevitably, I'll be halfway through and I'll be like, not even halfway, I'll be like 4 episodes in and realize there's something I really wish I changed, but I have no easy way to refilm it. So I don't want to get ahead of myself on the easy part and then get stuck basically just trudging through After Effects tutorials and stuff as I try to get this last thing done. And I really don't want the episodes to get to the point where they're all done. They're just literally waiting for the 10-second intro I haven't made yet. I'd much rather get that done and rolling so I can kind of start producing it as it goes. And hopefully that should also give me more time to start on the next project because I don't have everything kind of backlogged by this bottleneck. So that's what I've been kind of working on. I've also been vaguely wanting to do some just simple like live action skits. I was thinking of other stuff I could use to practice After Effects that was practical. Like I could always just be like, hey, I want to do a smoke effect on this video for some reason. I could just do that to stock footage, but that doesn't really give me anything, even if I do get the experience of seeing how that works. But I've always wanted to do like very simple sketches, especially stuff with like special effects. Because like I remember when like being younger, I loved watching stuff like what is now a brand like Rocket Jump and stuff like that. Just like these one-off videos based around special effects, humorous, well scripted, but it really is just like a couple guys, going out to a location and filming something. I would love to like start something like that. Nothing huge, because like eventually I'll need like, I'm sure for the stuff I'd love to do, I'll need like 10 people and props. But what can I start now to kind of get that ball rolling? Or even just have something that's a little bit more scripted? Because everything I do is, even if I script it, it's basically, to use the term I learned at the studio, live to tape. There's nothing I really sit down and I'm like, this is scene 1, this is scene 2, this is scene 3, or I'm trying to do the same scene but 2 camera angles. I've never had to do something like that. And I think that's going to take a lot longer because everything needs to be complete before I can put anything out. But I kind of want to get the ball rolling, especially so that I have certain things ready for when I need to do them. So like eventually like I want to get to a good enough point in like editing or like scripting something out that maybe by summer, when I can actually be more outside and filming stuff, I'm in a position to take advantage of that. Because like right now I could put all my time into doing a live action thing, but as soon it's going to be the middle of January and I have limited locations I can film just in my house. It's essentially why I didn't do much with my apartment. It's because while you could do it, you have to do a lot of work around to make that work. And I'd love to just go out somewhere else and just film something. Like I really just love the idea in terms of like doing projects for YouTube, like it giving me some reason to say, go out to some field at 4 a.m. with a camera, but I'm excited to do that. And it's just a reason to do something different that day. Like, I don't know what that might be. Like maybe I just want to attempt a special effect gun effect. Maybe it's something as simple as that. But it's also a reason, again, to go out at 4 a.m. and go roll around in a field. And that's something where I'll never do that in my life. Like I have no reason to do that just for the sake of doing it. But one thing I've always really liked about YouTube is it's a great way to, I would almost say, force yourself to go do interesting things. Like, and that was, if you ever saw like that little podcast I made to originally start live action stuff, that was the entire point of like the thumbnails was like, hey, let's go make a plan and go do this thumbnail. And it was really hard to sell that idea to people. Like, okay, I know it's a very simple thumbnail and I could just Google image search stuff. It's like, no, we should all go and get in a car. We should go to that park and take this photo because it's going to be so much more memorable and important if we did it versus me getting some stock images or something like that. So that's currently what my progress is. I think the biggest thing is nailing like the music, because I'm definitely not a strong person when it comes to music. Like, I hate searching for music. I feel like it's impossible to quantify what I want, even if I know how I want to describe it, how to put that into like essentially a website specific search engine and get back what I want. That's difficult. Also, unfortunately I don't have the skill set to say like go into GarageBand and just hammer something out either. It's like I'm trying to look for something that I can essentially get access to and use, but I don't have to directly like hit piano keys to create. So unfortunately, that's going to be my big bottleneck, is trying to figure that out. Because I feel like if I can get a strong sense of like that stuff, that will lend a certain amount of like quality to my project that I think immediately is apparent and will help set it apart, even if it is just something simple. And at the end of the day, it doesn't need to be anything amazing, because it's really just trying to start a foundation. Like eventually, like I would kind of prefer if I didn't have to make my own graphics, because I would not consider myself to be an artist. Anything I've done, like art and stuff for the channel, it's always been super simple, super basic. I'm not trying to really like digitally paint something. So eventually I like to either, while get better, I'd like to eventually have enough of a, momentum behind it where I could justify getting like supporting an artist to go make me something. That's kind of the eventual goal as well. Because then it starts just gaining steam on its own then. And I feel like that'd be really kind of valuable for me to have. So that's my update for the 18th. I really don't have a deadline for when I'm going to put anything else out, other than ideally this coming Monday. I plan to do another one of these. I think really my goal for this week internally that I want to do is I want to finish some kind of intro just for these little videos that I could easily repeat. Like, I don't want to literally plaster the same one on everything, but I kind of like the idea of either doing series specific ones, or like make 10 basically with different color palettes, and you can kind of swap them out so it's not always the same thing. And then once I have that, actually create a video. I have no intention to upload it, to be honest, for any time soon, because it seems pointless to me to upload like one video, especially if you're doing like a long form series. It's like, why not just post the first 5? So if people really are interested in it, there's at least some backlog to consume. But that's my goal, is at least internally get one done, so I can, send it to some friends, get some like just generic notes, and then get that rolling. Because I think honestly what's likely going to happen is I'll probably make the first 5, sit on them, make the next 10, and then I'll probably have a bunch of internal notes where I'm going to go back to the first 5 and redo the intro and redo the outro. Because that's usually how I work, where I'm very much like kind of a fail first and come back and fix it, but get it started person than I am say, let me just master this and then just copy paste it over and over. But don't start until I have a definitive idea or anything like that. So I've been Grant. I'll see you again next Monday.